Whenever we were walking out of the restaurant, he opened the door for
Bare
me.
minimum.
Whenever we got back to his place, he complimented me on
Bare
my...
minimum.
Whenever we were going to bed, he gave me a forehead kiss.
Bare minimum.
Whenever I left the next morning, he texted me to make sure I got home.
Welcome to The Wall. Today, we'll see a woman complaining that men don't pick up on her signals, and we're going to make it clear why that approach doesn't work. We'll also take a look at another woman who, after turning 31, now wants to start a family. But what she didn't expect was the masterful response she received. We want you to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're chasing 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Big thanks to those who support the project with their super chats and share their experiences in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video. All right, let's get started.
Why do men not understand hints in the slightest way possible? Okay, what happened to men being able to pick up on signals when women fancy them? Okay, I'm not making this 10-second eye contact for you to just walk out the room and pretend I don't exist, babe. Making the eye contact and even giving you a smile, and you're not doing anything about it. So you're calling me ugly and fat is what you're doing. Why don't they pick up on the hints that I'm madly in love with them? I've already envisioned that we're having 10 kids and we're having 2 dogs named Bert and Alan. You've already met my family in my head. We're already married, we've already settled down on a farm, and I can see you milking cows, to be honest, in our future, but you're not even going to reciprocate that? I've made eye contact with you and this is what you give me. Why do men not pick up on hints? Tell me why. Tell me why. I've literally told you via eye signalling that I'm madly in love with you. What more do you want from me?
Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Woman, men don't read minds. If you stare at us for 10 seconds straight, we're not thinking, oh, she's madly in love with me. We're more likely thinking, either I'm in trouble, or this woman can't stand me. Eye signals don't come with subtitles. We're not psychics. If you like a man, be direct. A subtle smile, a casual conversation, or a simple hello already makes a difference. A physical touch, or even inviting him for a coffee, sends a much clearer message than 10 seconds of staring. The problem is that many women are afraid of rejection. If you're afraid of rejection, don't ask why, ask how. How can I approach the man I like? Instead of complaining to men, focus on taking action. Nobody here has mind-reading superpowers.
Why do men not understand hints in the slightest way possible? Okay, what happened to men being able to pick up on signals when women fancy them? Okay, I'm not making this 10-second eye contact for you to just walk out the room and pretend I don't exist.
It's because men don't understand how to read in between the lines. They're not mind readers. So if you actually like a man, you actually have to learn how to communicate and be straightforward. Some of y'all love to play all of these games and make him guess. And then you have this stupid 3-day rule about texting. Like, stop playing all of the mind games. Let's also not forget that the majority of women come online every single day and talk about medium ugly dudes and ugly men and how men aren't attractive and how they don't find men attractive at all anymore. So again, how is he supposed to read your eye contact? For all he knows, you're making fun of him, you're looking at his socks, you think his outfit's weird, and he's unattractive and has a big nose. But additionally, for the last decade, women have demonized men and villainized men into a corner to where they don't even want to look your direction, because even looking your direction, he could be sexualizing you. He could be objectifying you. He's not going to do any of that anymore because he doesn't want to risk any kind of consequences that could negatively impact the rest of his life. But not only that, is y'all have made men feel so low and so useless that the fear of rejection outweighs the actual potential of him trying to read your mixed signals. So this just seems like the consequences of your own actions, because you can't tell men that you would choose a bear over them, but then expect them to read your mixed signals and want to approach you and be friendly and get to know you. And with that being said, I have to pose the question, do you think that a man is going to understand your eye contact? Because as women, you assume that men are eye fucking you 24/7 or sexualizing you if they stare in your direction. So that's why you expect him to pick up on your hints? Just a thought. Okay, bye.
If there's a woman who was in her 20s during the 2000s watching this, tell me in the comments if it was really this bad back then. Back in the day, you could approach a woman directly without being labeled creepy or a harasser. This shift is largely due to the influence of the purple-haired movement, with pig nose rings trying to make all men out to be harassers. Today, because of that narrative, young men are afraid to approach a woman, not because they're shy, but because of the risk of being yelled at, recorded, or even having the police called on them just for saying hello. That's the reality. That's why most guys now turn to dating apps, because at least there, a text message doesn't turn you into a criminal. We understand that harassment is a real issue, but it's reached a ridiculous point. Even making eye contact can be interpreted as objectification.
I genuinely need the universe to explain. I'm over here ready to be wifed. No. I'm ready to fall so in love. Like I'm ready to give someone serious babies. I'm 31 today, and no one is sitting across the table from me at dinner and holding my hand or telling me how beautiful I look or coming home and doing whatever it is that people do. It's unfair. It's ridiculous.
No, darling, I hate to break it to you, but what it is reality. The reality for you and millions of women just like you. And before I forget, I genuinely want to wish you a very happy birthday. I hope it went well. And I hope I'm not ruining your birthday by being the bearer of bad news. The bad news, sadly, being that the odds of you finding what you're looking for, that man to settle down with, that man to help you have babies, is probably somewhere between slim and none. Because the fact of the matter is, the majority of men, and especially the ones in your age group, the ones that you would want to, how you put it, wife you up, they're done. They have no interest in dating, certainly no interest in relationships or marriage, and even little to no interest in having children. That's the reality. And even if they did want those things, the odds are, and I don't mean to be mean by saying this, they're going to choose someone younger, someone who's more likely to be able to meet their standards and their needs. And I don't know your personal situation, but I have to wonder, how many guys in your 20s did you reject for not being good enough? How many did you friend zone? How many did you put on the back burner in hopes of finding someone better, only to realize that the smart women out there, the ones who didn't buy into the fantasy that there's a perfect man out there for every woman, just waiting to be found? You know, the ones that only exist in romance novels or Disney and Hallmark movies?
It's funny because it's true.
Many women wait until their 30s to get married and start a family, but what they don't tell them is that this is one of the worst moves they can make. In the past, older women advised younger women to get married before 25, usually to their high school or college boyfriend. But the message has changed. Now, they're told not to get married, not to be housewives, not to settle, and to only look for high-value men. They're told to be strong and independent. The problem with this mentality is that the high-value ladder has no end, but time does. And while they climb that ladder, their options decrease. By the time they hit 30, they realize they're not millionaires, they don't have the dream career, and now they want to get married. But the biological clock doesn't wait. By that point, the high-value men are no longer interested in them, but in younger women. The wall doesn't forgive, and time shows no mercy. But let's keep going because this is about to get even more interesting.
Well, as I said, those smart women didn't buy into the hype, didn't buy into the fantasy, didn't come up with an endless list of ridiculous demands and expectations of men. And because they were realistic, because they didn't have insane expectations and demands, they ended up being the ones that got wifed up because they showed themselves for what men are truly looking for: companionship, love, devotion, and being a true partner. Not some drama queen with the aforementioned never-ending expectations and demands. One who respects and appreciates the man and the relationship. Look, I get it. You were sold a bill of goods. Other women convinced you to believe that if you just went out and focused on your career, partied hard, ratcheted up a body count in the hundreds, if not thousands, that you would find true fulfillment, not just in your 20s, but for the rest of your life. And now realization has set in. Realization that while that may have been fun at the time, you're now ready to settle down, ready to start having kids, ready to be with someone for the rest of your life. The problem being, men aren't looking for women who've reached that point. The ones who, if I may be so bold as to say, are reeking of desperation. For men, there's better options out there, and that's who they're going to gravitate to. Again, I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm certainly not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just pointing out the reality of it. I genuinely hope you can find that man that wants to settle down with you and have children. But I hope you realize that it's going to be tough. And I hope you realize that the men that are left, the ones that are available, have seen how today's modern women have become so demanding, so outrageous with their expectations, and unwilling to offer anything when it comes to a relationship. They want to take, but not give anything in return. That's where we're at in today's modern society. And sadly, it's not going to change anytime soon. Men have walked away. Don't expect them to come back, because while we may be slow to make changes, once we do, they tend to be permanent.
There's not much more to add. The message is clear. Instead of betting on a man's potential, don't wait for your best years to pass. The difference is that men have a much broader time window to start a family, but women don't. Their time is more limited, and nature doesn't negotiate. You don't want to reach the point where you're freezing your eggs, because believe me, when you're in that situation, you'll realize that the wall doesn't forgive.
Why do men not understand hints in the slightest way possible?
Are you playing a game or something?
Okay, what happened to men being able to pick up on signals when women fancy them?
I'm confused, girl. Are you at a goddamn stoplight?
Okay, I'm not making this 10-second eye contact for you to just walk out the room and pretend I don't exist, babe. Making the eye contact and even giving you a smile, and you're not doing anything about it.
How about your ass give him some communication?
So you're calling me ugly and fat is what you're doing.
Now, girl, you just making shit up.
Why did they pick up on the hints that I'm madly in love with them? I've already envisioned that we're having 10 kids and we're having 2 dogs named Bert and Alan.
Girl, what? You sure you okay? You got a little fever?
You've already met my family in my head. We're already married, we've already settled down on a farm, and I can see you milking cows, to be honest, in our future, but you're not even going to reciprocate that?
How the hell he gonna reciprocate some shit he have no clue about? You sure you don't need to be in a straitjacket?
Why do men not pick up on hints? Tell me why. I've literally told you via eye signalling that I'm madly in love with you. What more do you want from me?
To open your goddamn mouth and stop playing charades. They ain't no goddamn mind readers.
I don't think all men want to die alone, without a wife or a family. This country needs fathers, strong men to lead the next generation and preserve the traditions that made this nation great. But let's be honest, the dating landscape is in crisis. The problem isn't men, because our expectations haven't changed. We want respect, support, and peace. But the standards of many women today are unrealistic. They expect a high-value man, but there aren't enough of those men for everyone, and not all women have the beauty or qualities to attract them. If you're already in your 30s and up against the wall, it's time to take the initiative. The statistics don't lie. 3 out of 5 times, when a woman makes the first move, it works. It's not about losing dignity. It's about recognizing that the competition is real and that time waits for no one. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. Why do you think men no longer approach women? What would you say to this 31-year-old woman who now wants to get married? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.